Hello, and thank you so much for checking out Mindful Peace Journey. Thank you especially to those of you who have been subscribers to this channel, and also to those of you who have supported me on Patreon. I'm going to do a little something different today, since meditation videos take quite a long time to write the dialogue and compose the music. And I wanted to get as much content out to you as possible. So, one thing I'd like to do is start sharing some book reviews with you. And I know that a lot of people who are getting into the world of meditation are trying to find the best place to start. There's just so many books and so much out there that it can be overwhelming and it's hard to know what resources to turn to. So I just wanted to give you a few of my recommendations. And my first one is this book by Dan Harris, and this is called 10% Happier. And the full title is actually 10% Happier: How I Tamed the Voice in My Head, Reduced Stress Without Losing My Edge, and Found Self-Help That Actually Works. A True Story. Yeah, that's a nice long title, but 10% Happier works just fine. Now, the very first thing I wanted to make clear about this book is that it really is more of a story, and it's kind of an autobiography of Dan Harris. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Dan Harris is a news anchor for some pretty major television shows like Good Morning America. And he tells about his experience of having a panic attack on live television and kind of what led to that, and then what he did to try to remedy that, which is what led him to mindfulness and meditation. So one of the reasons that I really emphasize that this book is more of an autobiography is some people go into it thinking that it's going to be kind of a self-help book. And there is some useful information in there, but it's really more of his story. So you want to come in with the right expectations. Now, his follow-up book I'm actually reading right now, which is called Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics. And I might have a review of that once I finish that book. But that one actually is more oriented toward giving information about how to meditate. In fact, he talks a lot about similar techniques to what I have on my channel when I talk about mindfulness and things that I use in my meditations that I've created. One of the reasons that I chose to give you my take on this book first is that I really related to it in a personal way. In fact, it's kind of the one that got me into meditation and was sort of the gateway for reading some of the more, I guess you could say, heady type of meditation books. And there certainly are a fair number of other meditation books that are pretty accessible, but this to me is almost the most accessible book to sort of open that door for you, because he just talks in such a plain way. And not only that, but he's also very funny. I found this book to be really humorous and was laughing quite a bit. I like the way that he frames things. And what's actually really cool is there were certain, I guess you could say, sort of modern mindfulness gurus or other spiritual type people. Really, this grouping of all these different people who I've explored, some I like more than others. He talks about them and meets with a lot of them. And it's like, wow, so this guy's getting firsthand experience with all these people that I've read about, and I'm kind of hearing it all compiled together. I think the way that I would frame it is a lot of books make you feel somewhat left out because they have this type of talk that I've initially felt very disconnected from. And that's actually part of why I chose to make my meditations relaxing, but yet also as accessible as I could. And I hope that comes through in the meditations that I have made. And Dan Harris was definitely an inspiration for that, because he was really, through this book, he was really the person that made me go, oh, this can be something for an everyday person. This doesn't have to be somebody who has spent years honing this craft of mindfulness, or is an expert in meditation. And it made me feel like it's something that I could really do and that it could actually help me. And it gave me faith that it could help me. So that was a very big shift in my mindset. And that's why I found this book so influential. If you're really looking for more of a self-help type book, you may want to look elsewhere. Like, for example, there's some wonderful books by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who I'm going to definitely talk about as well, because he is one of my favorite writers on the subject, modern writers. And so that's really my overall take on this book. It is a very fast read. The chapters just flow. It's not by any means a heady type of read. It's more of kind of having a fun conversation with someone. And it can also be very fun to listen to the audiobook, because Dan Harris brings his kind of unique wit to his readings, and he does his own readings as well. So that really even adds another layer to it. You can pretty easily decipher that if you're reading the text. But I am really drawn to his personality, and I think it just comes through really, really well through this book. I just found it a fun read, a quick read, and again, it was just one that kind of opened the door to meditation for me. So if you're wanting to really learn about meditation, this may not be the book for you. But if you just want to hear a story about somebody who wasn't into the world of meditation, didn't really know what it was about, took the leap to look deeper into it, and really looked deeper into it, and talks all about his experiences of learning about it, that was exactly what I needed. And it was kind of like taking me through that learning experience without me having to physically do it myself. It's fun, it's lighthearted, but it also takes on some serious subjects. He talks about how he dealt with depression and drug abuse, and really trying to turn his life around. And so much of it had to do with what was going on inside his own head. And I think so many of us feel that way, that there's outside forces that we want to change and make better, but so much of our suffering throughout the course of our life, when we are suffering, that comes from things that are in our own minds, which sounds kind of crazy. But of course, that's why I made this channel, and that's why I'm trying to help people through my creation of these meditation videos. So I feel in that way I can really relate to Dan Harris. So I do have an affiliate link for the book in the description. And of course, if you are curious to get more into meditation, if you enjoyed this review, if you want to listen to a bunch more of the meditations that I have created thus far, please do subscribe and check them out. I have anything from shorter 5-minute meditations all the way up to some longer ones that are more 15 to 20 minutes. There's also tracks that are audio only. So there's a lot of different options for you. And I put all of this out there because I want to help people, and I hope you do find it helpful. And I hope they are tailored to the modern way that we live in a fast-paced environment, so you can fit in these meditation sessions when you have those chances. So thank you again so much for all of your support, and I definitely recommend 10% Happier by Dan Harris. Thanks, and stay tuned for more meditations and other videos from Mindful Peace Journey.